Morning. It's my great honor and a pleasure to be here to present the work I have done in almost last 20 years. Most of my research focus on implement the artificial intelligence techniques for modeling various hydrological problems. I'm from National Taiwan University. Taiwan is just behind of China, and it's somewhere between Japan and Philippines. It's an island, small island, I would say. It's only 36,000 square miles, but this is really a beautiful island. So my talk today, I will briefly introduce a little bit about artificial intelligence, which now become very popular, I would say a hot topic, using for almost all kind of engineer or science problems. And after that, I will giving a very also brief introduce about artificial neural network, especially for hydrosystems, problems identification or for forecasting. So after that, I will present a number of study cases about how I implement this technique in hydrosystem. That will include different ANNs models. The first one I present will be the adaptive network-based fuzzy inference system called ANFIS. That was very nice, rule-basis modeling for multi-step ahead inflow forecast. And after that, I will also present the counter-propagation fuzzy neural network called CFNN for city flood control system. And then I will give how we implement the self-organizing network called SOM. The SOM is very powerful and very easy to use, especially when we dealing with high-dimensional input. That would be one of the most fascinating class tool. I'm using this one for many hydrological problems. The one presented for today will be including evapotranspiration estimation as well as the regional flood inundations problem, also for ground waters problem. That's the next talk. Building an early flood warning system just by using self-computing technique. That will include the SOM, also hybrid SOM with the another recurrent neural network. And so the same technique are using for flux forecasting and also for the regional groundwater level forecasting. So artificial intelligence technique is a broad concept of the machine that are able to carry out tasks in a way we would consider intelligent. The tool like this, for example, the artificial neural networks, someone also called data mining, data-driven modeling, and the genetic algorithm, especially good for optimization, parameter optimization, search a series of variables best solution, and also the fuzzy logic the fuzzy logic, a lot of problems when we describe a variable. Sometimes the computer cannot dealing with the variable which need to be very precisely defined. It's a mathematical term, but for our human being, we usually, say things not really that clear. It involves a lot of falsification. So the fuzzy logic with neural network, it seems a natural things to put it together. So all this to be means to be very efficient and so useful for water resource management issues. So when we have a bunch or a great number of monitoring this data from all kinds, from radar, from satellite, or just from the gauge site, traditional we monitoring the rainfall, the streamfall, the groundwater level, and evaporation loss. One might be we can using supervised or unsupervised statistical way to clustering or to do some statistic analysis. And we put all this data in some way. So we wanted to extract the major features, right? So when we can identify the feature or identify the mechanism between the input and the output, that's, we do the modeling process. And the machine learning algorithm is one of the, now it's become very popular. You put all kind of analysis, and you learn, you catch, you extract the information inside this might be big data or the input pattern, and we try to extract, and maybe we do something like we grouping the object so that we know when this happens, what will be the response, or what will be the expect things, or we predict something for the features. For example, when we know there's a typhoon or storms coming, we expect how we dealing with the reservoirs operation or flood gate controlling, those type of things. So after we have those information, or we call knowledge, or we call intelligence, and then we are able to try to explain or annotate the data inside it. For the artificial neural network, this is a biological motivated method in which large number of neurons, they communicate with one another through all these weighted connection. And these techniques is fascinating. All kind, almost what you can think. The issue we dealing with, for example, we doing approximation nonlinear function, and this is most powerful. Almost you can just put all the time series or the input data. You are able to identify the function. So it's very nice and powerful technique to approximation or simulate a nonlinear function. And also it's a computational approach for modeling physical-based problems. We have the knowledge, so we can build up a physical basis. So we know what will be happen. So you know what's the most important factor or input variable. So you are able to make the things expect when this happen, and then something will comes out. So this one is also very good technique for solving or modeling the problem. So there's features for artificial neural network. You can learning from the data. You provide 1,000 or 100 millions, input data set. So the neural network will able to learn what? Learn when you get input and you expect something happen later on and the output. So you put the data set input and then you expect something happen. For example, you have a rainfall here, current rainfall or previous rainfall, and you put all this rainfall from the upstream or from the satellite, and you expect to have features. For example, one step ahead, multiple ahead. You can expect today or tomorrow's the stream flow. So you have input set and you have output set. This becomes input-output pattern. For example, if we have 1,000 data set, 1,000 input-output pattern, and we are able to learn by this framework, or I will say this structures, neural network structure. So you can learning and you can recall. What's the recall? When you have something earlier and mapping to the output, and after we construct this network and we can have input, we get exact the same output. That we call recall. If these things happen earlier, so that we call recall. Sometimes the things never happened before. So you need to find something similar input pattern. So you expect this similar input will get similar output. So we call generalization. That's human beings do, right? So the features of artificial neural network include learning. That's the algorithm we're going to need to learn. How the network be trained, so that able to get the sense of the input and output. And after that, we can using it for recalling or for generalization. So the network structure include the input. There's input layer, this input, and also hidden layer and the output. So there's a different structure for the neural network. It's linked. For example, feed forward from this side input and then gradually going to output. We call this feed-forward neural network. Most of the neural network, like the famous backpropagate, BPNN, or radio-based function, this is called feed-forward neural network. And also there is some, if the output or some connecting going back from the structure, like this, going back, they are reconnected from input to output, and there's a rule. The information, the network information feedback to the system or to the network, and then we can call this one feedback neural network. And this one is especially for dynamic system, because the dynamic system, the previous one will affect the later on, so they can store the information into the system or into the network. So there's a bunch of the different structure for the neural network. So network learning method include, we can divide it into supervised learning or unsupervised learning. The supervised learning means that someone can guiding you. Hey, you make mistake. You need to adjust a little bit. So that means the system, you get input and you build up a network and you have output. And the output have to be compared with the monitoring or measurement. When you find the output and the measurement, the output are not the same. So there's error between the model output and the real or monitoring observed. So this error, how we adjust our neural network, it's very much based on how, if we do everything good, everything perfect, we don't need to adjust. We need to adjust mainly because there is a mistake, so we need to adjust. That's the sense how this error can feedback to adjust the parameter or the weight or the coefficient inside the neural network. So we call this supervised learning because someone guiding on you. And there is another algorithm called unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning means that the output, actually we only doing the clustering. For example, you just want to categorize, the rainfall. For example, there's a big storm, so come with the heavy rainfall. That's one case. The rainfall everywhere, from upstream to downstream. There's a heavy rainfall coming, and this we have to. Sometimes it's the storm coming, but not that close. So the rainfall in all the watershed is still very slight or very, very small rainfall. That's another pattern, right? So we want to have our input, put the network, and we do the cluster. So without, response, we just cluster. So nothing need to be changed. We just classify the input pattern into, for example, we have big rainfall, middle rainfall, upstream rainfall, downstream rainfall, those kind of things. So this is called unsupervised learning. So how we adjust the parameter, or how we adjust the connecting weight inside the network. We actually measure or compute the error between the observed desire or target and the output from the network. And we set up an object function or cost function. And we want to minimize this error. That's how we, change or adjust those connecting weight from input to the hidden layer, from hidden layer to the output layer. So there's a lot of connecting weight have to be changed. And they have to change simultaneous because they are connected, they are related. So we have to find the algorithm, the learning algorithm. We need to adjust. We know we have to adjust or classify the input to the output. So much have some simple way. Those are the simple way to adjust. When you adjust this connecting weight, there's they have a different learning rule. For example, the delta learning rule. This one is learning rate, and this is the error, and this is the function. differentiate the function of the setting, and also this is input. When you adjust the weight, so how we adjust, change, modify the connecting weight. You see all of this learning rule, actually they are very simple way. But this weight can be changed, thousand times. Okay? With very small change. We say, oh, this error happened, so we adjust a little bit. But we change millions times. But now computer is so fast, right? You're doing all of this change, there will might be just a few seconds, or might be just 1 second. They already done all of the changes by using those simple rules. You can implement one of them. For example, this is very easy way, correction learning rule. When you find the error, and you have to adjust. And the way you adjust is a learning rate times the target and also the input. The input and the target, if they are in the same trend, and then you adjust. You just simple rule, and also these are simple rule, and that's the way we adjust the connecting weight. And this one, competitive learning rule. This actually is doing the clustering. For example, you have number of input. For example, 10 rainfall gauge in a watershed, and you want to do the clustering, and you have 1,000 data set, and you want to divide those 1,000 watershed rainfall information, because each data set includes n input, and you want to cluster those into, for example, in these cases, they are 6 times 5, 30 cluster. You want the clustering the 1,000 data set into 30 clusters. And you need to, find an easy way to learn how to adjust, so that the small one might be here, the highest one will be here, from the smallest to the highest, and with a learning rule. And this is the learning rule called the winner-take-all learning rule. Today I probably could not go very detailed about how we did this one, but there is a textbook, or you might be able to find this one from internet. Well, anyway, the learning rule is a very, very simple one, and very, very effective one as well. So that's the learning rate by identify who is the winner, and the only winner needs to be adjusted, and the rest of that, because when this data is mapped into this selected or winner node, because more sample entering, so this class needs to be changed a little bit, and that's the way how they change it. So when we get the model ready, and the algorithm for finding the best parameter of the A and N, the learning rule I just briefly introduced. There's a way how we train, for example, the online learning. Online learning most of the time is one by one. For example, you have 1,000 data set or 1,000 input-output pattern. The way is we put one into the neural network and see whether the mapping the input can get the output we need, one by one. So each time we change a little bit. So 1,000 data set, you need to adjust the neural net 1,000 times. Not just 1,000 times, one cycling is 1,000 times. You need to feedback, we call approach. So you have to be many cycles. So one by one, change the connecting weight. This is called online learning. Sometimes we call another way is batch learning. You have 1,000 patterns, and you need to calculate all of these 1,000 patterns, and that's the summation error from 1 to 1,000. So this is called batch learning. And the batch learning usually more efficient, but you need more space to store all this information in simultaneous. So the learning algorithm we use in both ways, online learning and offline learning. The online learning usually very easy to write a program. If you're going to write a program by yourself, I would suggest online one by one, and you change it a little bit and put another one and recycling. So after maybe 1,000 times recycling, you are able to get the result using the learning rule I just mentioned. It's a simple question, how we adjust. Okay, you can, sometimes we know when we try to match a pattern, we try to minimize or optimize the error. You need to find the direction. So how we, when you're going to improve it, what's the direction you can improve, increase or decrease? So derive that gradient basis. Most of the network, when they involve the search, we're using the gradient-based descent method, or you can using Newton method as well. When you find it difficult to derive a nonlinear function or this continuous equation, you might try to using other methods as well. For example, the genetic algorithm, the simulated Ananian search, random search, down here symbolic search. There's a bunch of the nonlinear search method with no derivative. They are not very efficient, but they are effective. So the neural network has been used almost all kind of problem. So most apparently we're using for forecasting, prediction, whether rainfall runoff, stream flow, flood, even for debris flow. So forecasting is most, and for clustering analysis. In our problem, sometimes we need, because cluster usually is very quick. You can doing the cluster analysis, with huge data, and cluster analysis seems most effective. And data compression, I don't think we have using this so much in water resource issue. Nonlinear system control, we did function approximation, characteristics, and digital number identification, algebra equation, optimization problem, all kind. And this is what we do, right? We modeling the real world problem. We have input, and we need to do, simulate rainfall the output or runoff. So we build a model. Model always include, the parameters, number of different parameters in the different process. So we also need a mechanism, sometimes physical process or conceptual model. They always involve the knowledge or the equation. and put all this into a model as also involved. The code is not really well simulate or well approximate to the object. So we need to doing the parameter optimization. That's what we do for the most of the hydrological modeling, right? And we just substitute the parameter into the connecting weight in the neural network. Do very much the same things. Only this one is more based on data. So we call this data-driven model. Or sometimes you want to find a mechanism inside the problem. So we call data mining technique. And since this was simulate modeling by computer, so people using soft computing technique. And now because this one, machine learning, become more popular sense, so we also call machine learning. They actually are very much the same. Okay, now we modeling our hydro system. For example, in this one, we have rainfall, and we have runoff. That input, that output. And it's dependent on, of course, weather condition, all right? When there's a storm coming, we expect our water level or discharge going to be higher, right? And also this one depends on geomorphological attribute, right? In our cases, we are small island, but we have high mountain. So when there's a rain coming, the runoff is just like flash, flat, coming very soon. Couple hours later, the rainfall will rush to the city and running to the ocean. That's our cases. In some area, they are more flat. So there's a big storm coming in a whole very large area, continentals, like maybe Russia or United States. They're a very big country, and your river is very long, the watershed is very large. So a storm coming to the upstream, running to the city, might take a couple weeks, right? So that's different, very different. But we doing this pattern. You can have physical model, you have conceptual model, and also you can have, yesterday called black box model, like neural network. And their human activity change a lot. For example, you're building a reservoir. The reservoir can store the flood in certain amount, depending on your capacity, storage. So human activity change, things in the watershed. We need to consider that. So the problem can be highly nonlinear, not independent of time and just dynamics. So we're going to model in this system. So artificial neural net, as I just mentioned, that is a computational model inspired by the function aspect of biological neural network, just like the things very light one. And we try to inspire it by this connecting from sense we get and how we respond it. So we have different kind of monitoring. We have rainfall, runoff, watershed, this kind, and put in this network, and we compute. We connect and then we compute and have some response connecting the next day. So all of this consists of interconnected group of artificial neural, this artificial neural, and process information to computation. So we have the data, and then we got the information from everywhere. So we have to first, well, you have different choice, right? So select the best type of ANN. You have different algorithm, you have different architecture, so you have different ANN. What will be the one suitable for your problem? You need to consider. Okay, constructing the suitable magnitude of network. For example, why just one hidden layer? Can we have 10 hidden layers? Why not? Why one hidden layer? And each hidden layer, how many neurons you need? 2 is good enough, or might be 20, the neuron. So you need to construct a suitable one. If you have a very huge input dimension, you try to not make this too complicated. So this is really the important things. You try to identify, you need to identify the one suitable for your problem, and then after that, you need to construct a suitable magnitude of the network. And then you put your model, your data. So you training your network so that it can do the job you want, dealing with input-output and get the input-output, mapping the input to the output. So after that, you can using this one as a tool, as a model. When you have input, and then you instantly get the output. So forecasting. So now I'm very much done. Now briefly introduce the AI technique and also the artificial neural network. Just very basic fundamental things before we entering the application. So the first model, why I mentioned this one? Because I saw this is more like human being. Our human being, we do things by rule. When this happens, and I do this. I identify there's a rainfall patterns coming. I expect the reservoir operation need to base on the things I get. So we need dual and adapt network-based fuzzy inference system. Its combination is I integrate the artificial neural network with fuzzy inference system. They combine both of them. ANN, as I mentioned, is excellent in self-learning. You see all these algorithms inside the neural net, so they can self-learning. This algorithm easy to implement. Almost most software can provide it. This learning rule, and they can organization ability. You have structure. You set what one hidden layer, one input, one hidden, and one out. You organize, and you can choose different node. So it have the ability to organize and the way to learning. So excellent for this kind of ability. But it's unable to dealing with quantitative analysis and a logical inference process. It needs very much based on the data you provided. If you try to guiding the neural network, you need to transfer the logical. You say, hey, when I met the water, the reservoir in a certain high level, and if there is a big storm coming, you need to release water from the reservoir so that the reservoir can have enough storage to store the coming water, right? That's logical. You need to transfer the logical into digital numbers sense. Network, the ANN cannot do that, or need to do a lot of things in order to transfer the logical, the qualitative problems. While the inference system, on the contrast, they are capable to dealing with the quantitative analysis and also the logical inference process. But, well, it's unable to provide quantitative analysis and the correction. So when we fit this one into one, and they can do both, that will make this one very attractive, very useful, very easy to get the sense. So if someone telling that ANN is a black box, in fact, yes, might be backpropagate. Neural network is a black box. Inference, I would say, actually they store a bunch of knowledge. You can just interpret. The knowledge inside the network is not really a black box. You can interpret things there. So this one, we have input. Oh, sorry. We building the fuzzy inference system. We actually building the fuzzy if this happens, then what's going to be the response? What's going to be the next if then rule of the reliable flat operation? My student and I, we using this NEC to developing the AI, the artificial intelligence control system for reliable operation in 2001. That's the first, I believe the first one implement this modeling in reliable control was published in hydrological process in 2001. All the sense is we have input, we divide input in certain range. So that is fuzzification. High level, middle level, lower level. You can divide your input reservoirs level into, for example, 3 groups. So that means you're doing the fuzzification. When you have this, and you do need an inference engine. The inference engine includes the knowledge base and the fuzzy rule basis. When you have high level, your reservoir have high levels of water, that means you are full, and there's storm coming. You need to release the water as many as you can before the rain coming. That's knowledge. There's an operating rule show you have to do that. So we build a fuzzy rule, but computer can only do precise things, but that means digital. So you need to do again. When you have inference, you need to give the operator say, hey, how much water I need to release. That called defuzzification. So then you build a neural network in this inference system. So you have excellent learning ability. You know how you dealing with this problem. And EMPHIS was, I believe, presented by a scholar in University of California, Berkeley. And now he's a faculty in our university as well. It's called EMPHIS. EMPHIS, this is EMPHIS. Actually, for example, you see, they divide the input into group, high, low, A1, A2. Each variable you have, you divide it in 2 cluster or 3 cluster, and when you have, that's called falsification, or actually it's clustering. And then you're building a rule. If upstream have big rainfall and the rainfall in the high level, and what are you going to do? Something like that. You're building a lot of this operating rule, and you do the compute. You do the clustering. You do the optimization to adjust the parameter inside or connecting weight. So this 5 days. So we're using this one to the stream forecast or for the reservoir operation as well. And inflow caused by typhoon storm rainfall in a short time period. Reservoir operation must take inflow into consideration to determine amount of the outflow. The impact factor of the inflow is highly nonlinear. The rainfall information can only catch a short-term trend. It needs more information to improve accuracy of the multi-temporal forecast. So we do all kind of, just like most of modeling things, data collection, analysis of rainfall, runoff characteristics based on, like correlation or Kendall tau, and then we're building a model. So I given a very quick go through this one. This multi-ahead inflow forecast, and we're developing we call semi-distribute data streaming rainfall. Why we call semi-distribute? Because the watershed, you need to divide into upstream, middle stream, downstream. So it's called semi-distribute, and they have different effect to the reservoir, to the downstream. So we build an EMPHIS for this one by using different information. For example, in these cases, we're using actually most of them from radar, and we also try to incorporate from satellite and also the gauge. So this is Taiwan. Taiwan, just behind the mainland China. Mainland China is very big. Taiwan is very small here. This is Japan, and this is the Philippines, and this is Korea. So Taiwan is here. Hong Kong is somewhere here. And we have, sometimes our rainfall is much more than average of the world. We have annual rainfall is 2,500 millimeters per year. Compared to most of the region, this is really high, 2.5 times over average. And runoff distribution, river is very short. The longest river is less than 200 kilomile. So it's compared to the river you have 1,000, and we only have less than 200. So very short, but very steep, because the high mountain is go up to 4,000 meters in this very short period, a short distance. So that means the stream flow can be the flood can come very easily, quickly. and we do have typhoon. Actually, all of this rainfall come with the storm, come with the typhoon event. In last century, we have 350 typhoon. That means every year we have about 3 or 4 typhoon attack, and they bring huge of the rainfall in just 1 or 2 days. And we cannot store it because our watershed is, high mountain. You always have a very small capacity to store this water. So most of water actually just run out to the ocean within 1 day. That's the problem we have. So we can using just about 20% of the water, falling to the island, to the Taiwan. Taiwan, even we only have 36,000 kilometers square. We have population is 24 million people. So it's highly dense. Many people living in a very small island. So our competition, we do have a challenge because the natural resource is lacking, but we do try to management. There's a time we can fight with China, in this very small island. In last 50 years, we now still fighting. Most of them we are attacked by China. Okay, this is China. Sorry, this is Taiwan. This island. I will say this huge mountain we call Central Mountain, and this is the west area. The most people living in this coast area, and as a matter of fact, this is 70%, and this one only 30%. Only in this area we have to, feed or growing 24 million people. So you can expect that. So, anyway, it's called Formosa, right? It's a very beautiful island. All kinds of skinning, and the seashore, and the tree, and the mountain, and the city, and our people. Our people are friendly, very friendly, just like me. Okay? And I was always tell my friend, for example, Professor Soromatin, he was there, I don't know, 1 or 2 times, maybe. Yes. Okay, we have we have different kind of food, because most of Taiwan people actually come from China, from different area, from different just 50 years ago, 100 years ago. So we integrate all kind of food, from different area into this small island. So the way we cook, Taiwan was ruled by Japan 50 years ago. So we, integrate all these food features into very unique. So I will always tell my friend, we are paradise for food. This is true. Dimitri, are you agree with me? You agree with me, right? I always fit him well. Okay. So the watershed I'm going to talk is Shimen Reservoir. It's close in the North Taiwan. This area only have about 700 kilometers square. Annual average rainfall is between 2.2 thousand to 2.8 change. And most of the rainfall happen in May and September. And historical typhoon rainfall records, we collected, And there's 16 rainfall gauges distributed in the Shimen Basin. As you can see, the high mountain here go up to 3,500. Go to here is about the low level. So in this less than 200 miles, and from very high mountain. So the river is really steep, and so the fresh flood comes soon, very quick. And so I say I'm collecting all kind of information from the rainfall, and we estimated the runoff. I think I have to go very quick, otherwise I have many topics. Correlation analysis try to identify the rain gauge from the up to the reservoir here. It's just take a couple hours, 3 hours to 6 hours might be. So we do the correlation analysis. So this is called spatial continuum of the radar data. And I would say we have radar, and we divide it into 400 to 500 grid. And we try to say, hey, maybe we only need to have 4 catchment or 8 catchment, or the most. That's probably good enough by using those radar. So even we have 400 something grid, actually we can merge all of this information into 4 or 12. 4 probably is good enough. So Chang is mentioned that we actually not need all of this huge information. Simple information. We integrate, average those information is already good for building our model. So we can have a very simple one by using previous stream flow. We can build an inference to estimate 4 or 6 hours later, T plus K ahead. K is how many hours ahead. And we call this model 1. And we have model 2. Model 2 include, a number of rainfall. We have 4 catchment, we have 4. We have 12 catchment, we have 12. But you need to have different periods, the rainfall information, right? So this another model, model 2, and we identify might be this is pattern in different regions, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sub-catchment with different rainfall information, T plus K minus 5 for the 1, and minus 7 for the 4, 3, and 5, and build another model, ENFIS. We're using the ENFIS to build 3 models. And then we're using the typhoon event. Oh, okay. Number of them for the training. And each typhoon event, we might have 50 hours. So each hour is a data set, include input and the output. So we do have, a number of events in terms of a great number of data set for model training, validation, and testing. And that's what it looks like. Different model have different promotes as expected. The model 3, which include the suitable rainfall information, and also the stream flow information can be the best. The high correlation with small roaming square error, and the coefficient of efficiency is high. So that's what it looks like for the T plus 1, T plus 2, T plus 3, T plus. You can see that the model do make good forecast in these cases. So the simple one is the simple request online early warning system can build on this study and can be very useful for flood control. The paper has been published in 2016 in Journal Hydrology. The second topic, do we need to take rest? Maybe not, since I only have 1 hour left, right? 1 hour.
Half hour, 30 minutes.
Only 30 minutes?
Yes, because on 10 past 11 we have coffee break.
And after that? my topic with finish, right?
Yes,
10 plus 11, sorry. Talk.
Yeah, we have still half hour to go.
Half hours.
There is still half an hour to go, so maybe, but you suggested maybe short break, right?
No. I want to give as much as I want.
Yes, but the audience may not be...
Please, wake up. If you need, go to rest. Please help yourself. Okay, this is the second one. I'm using this one called CFNN. I will go very quick. We using this one in Taipei City for the pumping station. This is one of the biggest pumping station in Taipei City. What it means, pumping station? Because there's rainfall, and you won't want the city inundated. So you need a pump station to pump out the inside the city, the inner city's water to the river. So we're building it's kind of a flood defense system, very important one. And so we have the pumping station almost, we are along the river, and this is the biggest one. And how is you see the pumping capacity? Every second can take out almost 200 cubic meters. That means a very big swimming pool of water can be pumped out in just 1 second, something like that. Okay, and we need to know how many the pumping had to be open. Okay, based on the rainfall, based on the runoff inside the sewer, we have those information. We build a model called CFNN, country propagate. So this one actually also hybrid. So we building the lure, and then we try to different, just very much the same. Okay, this is what we do. The result. This is real, and the model operate 5 minutes ahead, 15 minutes ahead. You see, we actually model this one quite properly. So that means I can base on the input to learn how many pumping the pumping system have to be open. That's what it just look like. So the simple things is that this study gives a very preliminary investigation on application of rule basis fuzzy neural network to urban sewer system and contribution to predict information to the operational pumping station. It is very clear that the model, also actually I built 2 models, ENFIS and the CFNN, both are neural fuzzy network, can efficiently describe the relationship between the input and the pumping operation versus minimize rules and provide precisely prediction of the running pump. Okay, this is one of my PhD students' thesis, and also published in HESS in 2011. And this SOM, the structure of SOM I mentioned is a recurrent, unsupervised, and winner-take-all learning rule. It's a merit that speed up the learning time, search for the distribution of input data, and the magnitude of work cannot determine easily. Okay, this is what we will look at. We put the input, and we try to identify the winner so that we can formulate this topology. And then each cluster have one thing output, and then we connect, we fusing all of these output into output, integrate. Sorry, I cannot go very deep for this one. And we're using the SOM to doing the evaporation estimation, very much based on the climate information. For example, temperature, dew point temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, radiation, precipitation. We identify some of them will be the important factor, and we choosing 5 of them, and we think the SOM, and to build up. This one is again 36 cluster, and then we can using those information to build evaporation. And this is the relative information, and that's what we look like. You have 5 input. You have 5 input, 5 climate variables: temperature, humidity, solar, and sunshine. Those information, and you try to build a SOM and try to estimate based on this clustering, and that's the result. We can actually, after you cluster, you know most of the data in those clustering. For example, the summer, most of the summer is inside this area. The winter is in this area, and spring and fall is not really okay. And for different input, for example, the temperature and the solar, and this is the result. Okay, the temperature, high temperature here, high humidity here, wind speed, high wind speed, and sunshine hour, high sunshine hour, high solar radiation, low solar radiation. When you look at this one, you immediately get the sense all these high value, sunshine hour, solar radiation, have a high evaporation. That makes sense, because sunshine and the solar radiation is most important, and they are highly valued. You look this one, right? So this one is giving a very good image about how the input variable can affect the output. So this gives you a sense. You can just visualize, and you can analyze the previous one, actually given the sense how all these data coming from. So we can read this one, and we can analyze this one, and we can identify the knowledge inside this analysis. That's most important. So this one given a sense that can establish the relationship among input meteorological variables through representing the regional high signal density on the topological map, and preserve the neighborhood relation in the input data. We could visualize identical class on the 2D topology map. That's the one called 2D topology map. And again, idea about the behavior of the input variable and the multiple relation input variables. And we demonstrate that the SOM with the connecting weight, SOM neck, is a system way to extracting the multi-collinear relationship between the evaporation and meteorological variable, and suitable and reliable for evaporation. The paper also published in Journal Hydrology. This is really the things I like to talk today. Building an early flood warning system by soft computing technique. We have implemented this not in Taiwan, actually in Malaysia. So this is the watershed, in the east side of Malaysia. It's an area easily inundated. Their inundated is much serious, 3 meters high in 1 or 2 weeks. Okay, so can cause really high damage. So we're building our model, try to make an early warning system for this study area. And this is the event we corrected, and the event, the rainfall and runoff look like. And then the method, we hybrid the ANN-based model for now casting the regional flood inundation. The 3 main schemas for this one, using SOM for producing a regional inundation topology under various hydrological conditions, building a recurrent configuration on the linear autoregressive. This is called NAIX for sequentially forecasting the average inundated depths in the study area using storm event. So hybrid SOM and the NAIX. So we adjusting the AID of the SOM by using NAIX based on the forecast AID for producing a real time. It's a real time. I mean, every second I can provide, couple hours later inundated area. So this again we summarize how we did it. That's the map. This is the areas inundated map. We put this one. Actually, there are more than 10,000 grid. You have to very small area. You need to calculate inundated depths, and you put all this map, and you divide, for example, 1 to 10,000 grid information. Okay, from here, put here, and you class into this one. High inundated cases, no inundated cases. We have many of this one. And kept this all the information, put this one into SOM, and translate it into, for example, this one is only 16 cluster, from very low to very high. Okay, build another model. This one called dynamic neural network, NAIX, to estimate the average. Each map we calculate because each grid, and then we calculate just only average inundated depths. So we know each cluster, the relative average AID. We need to have model to calculate, to estimate. And then we building a model to connecting these two, and then we identify, for example, now the one, which one will be choose, and if this one choose, and we need to adjust. Because we only have 16. 16 is not good enough. So we need to adjust, Also, so we build a four model because we try to make 3 hours ahead to 12 hours ahead. We have training event, we have validation event, and then we also have testing event. We're using the previous, the rainfall and the gauge station, all those type, and also with different things. And this is what it looks like, clustering result of the SOM, and all of this indicate the AID, average inundated depth. For example, 3.4 meters. You see, this more than 1 floor higher inundated in these cases. Well, in some cases, no flooded. So you can see that we call this a topology map, from very low to very high in all of the grid. Okay, this is 4 times 4, and we can using the model to forecast the AID. As you can see that high correlation with small looming square error for different time step ahead. And that what it look like for event 6, one of the most serious event. And this is showing how we did it. the forecast, the model forecast with the simulated, and the error. If we compare the forecast and the simulated, we still need a physical model to simulate, because there's really not a monitoring data. So we build another model to simulate in this rainfall how it look like. We compare the forecast and simulate, and we get the error. And error usually very small, less than 15 centimeters, I would say. Small in most area, in most grid. In different time, this is different time. We can show, the different times how it look like. And after that, we're building this model into GIS. So people can put in my home, and to learn what it look like. So this is a web information showing the result. Different color means the series of the flood area. Sorry, I don't have time go very detailed about this. And also this one can incorporate in house, the people living here, and how it look like. And this one showing the real time, changed the rainfall pattern, and so the area inundated. So you can put all of the information. For example, they make 1 week, and so this one will continue showing the different. Actually, this we download this one, and now we have implemented this one into the system. So when there's event coming, we can project, and so we can give an early warning system in this area. We also building this system in Taiwan as well, in a number of cities. So the up-to-date AI technology used to develop early regional flood warning system. We developed a hybrid SOM with the NAI's model based on mining big data to provide real-time, visible, multi-step ahead regional flood inundating map with a high resolution, and their forecasts are reliable and suitable. The computation time is less than, you say it might take hour and hour. No, few seconds, 1 second, 2 seconds. I can provide the map in the whole area. As long as I get the rainfall information, I can provide 12 hours ahead in just 1 second. So a web interface is designed to display the online forecast flood inundation depth in the study area. The interface includes the soil inundated area by Google Map, the maximum inundation depth and its location, provide a KMG file download of the result, which can be watched on Google Earth. And so we can building the early regional flood warning system is essentially for protection the resident against flood hazards, and it allow people to get prepared. However, it cannot prevent flooding, right? The public must be involved. So we can show this one to the local government and or central government, and also showing to the rest if they want confidence about this. So it will be assessed the flood risk and make the necessary action to mitigate. The paper actually published, the previous one is published in 2014, and recently I rewrite this one and using the Malaysia cases in 2018 in water. Okay, well, very much the same technique. That one is for surface water, and this one is for groundwater. But since the technology is very much the same, so I have to run very quick. I put all of the ground water level. Now we have about 200 groundwater monitoring in different area, and we have recorded in last 10 years 10 years daily data. So I have the time series. I using this one, and then I have about 100 and something the groundwater level. So I put all this information, and I using the SOM to showing all the watershed groundwater level into just one map. No, this map actually includes more than 100 groundwater levels monitored in last 10 years. You can fusing all of this huge data into this map. And this map showing, the low level to the high level, just like the one I have for the flood. So it's using very much the same technique again, and doing very much the same process. The only thing's different is data. That one is previous one flood inundation in the city, and this one is a watershed. So this all monitoring data in the groundwater with also rainfall information. So I can, based on the rainfall, to estimate the daily or weekly or monthly regional water level. So the station use, different area, they have geometric characteristic in different layers. Actually, we have all of this in different layers, 4 layers. So that's what it looks like. The some statistic in different area and how we calculate the water level, and in different area time series from 2010, 15 years, daily data in different region. Okay, so all of this information and configure a SOM map to showing all of this data in different layers, because we have 4 layers. The 4 layers have to be not the same. Efficiency of the EC and high correlation in some. Okay, this is what it looks like. Match very well. So, the quick remark about this one. The SOM classification of high water and low water levels periods could improve our knowledge about regional groundwater level study. The NAS can efficient and accurate estimate the dynamic groundwater fluctuation. The SOM with the NAIX model can reduce the model complexity and increase the model reliability, and estimate two-dimensional visible monthly groundwater level. The model can very quickly the same, because actually when you build up this model, you just identify one of them, and using the NAIX say, hey, this is the one, and we adjust a little bit. So I can provide the map in just 1 second. So carry out a visible forecast basing while groundwater level map for the river system. The model offers a new insightful methodology in realizing complex relationship between surface water and groundwater, and forecast reading groundwater levels. The paper has been published in Journal Hydrology in 2016. No, I don't have time for this. But, this technique, we can using it one for flood forecasting, groundwater level, evaporation, as well as eco-hydrology. Actually, I have a serious paper dealing with the eco-hydrology. You know, this is different concept, the ecosystem and the hydrology system. I using the set technique. I make a serious publication how we integrate those different features. The ecosystem actually is fish diversity with the flow regime. And this one is for water quality. Water quality, as long as you have the most importance is who can provide the data you need. I'm very lucky. I don't need to doing all of these monitoring things for water, for groundwater, for water quality, or even for the fish. I don't need to catch fish, right? Because someone do it, or government agencies do it. Some scientists in different fields, they do it. So the only things we need is just building a model, try to integrate, try to learn from them, and we building a model until does that make sense to you? And I will using this one as well for water quality, and I'm trying to the total phosphate. So building very much the same in a series of the gauge station along the Danshui River. And this is the cement readable, and we're along this one. And the data collection in last 10 years, and the different parameter, water quality. And we try to using this one because the water qualities, they are not monitoring, real-time monitoring. They take time. So it might be only 1 month per one data set. So it's more costly and more expensive to all this. And we're building a model, and we estimate the model, how it looks like, and we from the very upstream to the downstream, and the TP concentration in different. You see, this is a map showing all the result along the river system. So helping people to recognize. And I try to find the reason why it's bad, why it's good. So to develop the SDM is utilize estimate seasonal the TP concentration in the river channel as a function of the easy measures water quality parameter with extension to monthly TP estimation to provide a monthly WQ water quality index in response to the sudden change in the river pollution level. This one also published somewhere. Okay. The AI dealing with helping machine to find a solution to the complex problem in a more human-like fashion. The ANN I just present has been satisfactorily applied to many hydrological problems, especially for variable identification and or forecasting. The AI technique can be very useful for water resource management, and I believe it's a new era of implement of this technique, AI technique, in water issue that certainly can enhance our understanding of the complex system in more broad and effective way. And that certainly can help, better performance for management job in the coming decade. Thank you very much. That's all I talk.
Thank you, Professor Chang, for your wonderful talk on the very wide scope of application of artificial intelligence. So now your questions, please. We have still some time for that. Please.
Yes, please.
I have a question early warning systems that are based on irrigation types. Why don't you need the discharge estimations only rainfall? What kind of layer is it for those you make those maps? Is it urbanized or some other?
Well, it provides a map. This is not one station. 16 map showing the hydrologic condition in certain I actually as you doing the statistics analysis, you collecting all of this information. You might have 10,000 time step information, and you try to integrate all this into different clusters. So each cluster represent a hydrological condition. So the things we using for flood, or for groundwater, or even for evaporation, the same technology, but it's showing integrate. So this is the best technology I can find to fusing all the information in one and showing to the people, easy to communicate, right? You cannot present people more than 3 conditions, 3 gauges. But you can show people a map, say, hi, I have all this in one. That is fascinating, isn't it? Okay, thank you.
Questions, please? We have coffee. We go with
I have a question, John. So when you show the Cajon network, some networks, so in fact what you are saying, I would cluster your data into 16 clusters, because it's in fact inside it is a clustering algorithm, right?
Yes, yes.
But then I didn't get it. So then are you building that neural network for each of the clusters separately? Or
I built another network to estimate the average. The average, NAIX, is for example, each
so there are
class.
16 neural networks then
Yeah,
in there.
yeah, right.
Each of them estimates average depth for each of the clusters.
Yes,
Separately.
exactly.
So first, when new data comes in, you first cluster it into 116 or 1 of 16, and then neural network with regression model would estimate the depth, correct?
Inverse. I using the rainfall information to predict for example, 6 hours later, what the average inundating depth. Okay, I have one value, and then I'll try to identify what this will fit in one of the 16, the winner.
Okay.
And then, because they are not the same, so I need to adjust a little bit.
Yes.
So, based on the rainfall information, I predict the average inundating depth and identify from the 16 clustering and identify one winner and adjust a little bit because they are not the same. For example, I might predict 3.5 and the clustering is 3.0. There's a 0.5 difference. So I have to adjust, increase or decrease. So that's the way. So why is so quick? Because we know the ANN can doing forecast. When you train, it's very easy. It can provide instantly, and then you fit in one, and that one also very easier. And so I can provide another map, continuous sequentially to provide the information you need. That will be very helpful for decision maker. To get the sense what it would look like couple hours later, couple days later.
So in fact, maybe it could be compared to instance-based learning because you pre-cook these maps in advance, right?
Yeah.
And then the trigger to choose one or the other is average depth, which you forecast by a standard neural network.
Yes.
And then you pick up from the database the correct map and adjust it a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
More questions, please? May I have a question? You show that you compare the maps of inundation with the model maps.
Yes.
And how do you ground proof the simulated map? How do you verify against any kind of observation or any aging data?
This is a really the most important things. How we training, how we get this information. I don't have really the inundating map. There's no in most all of the city. We don't have this information. We might have some inundated map, only in very clear skin. So we don't have it. So we need to have hydraulic modeling to simulate what's the different area the inundating depth. So the first step, if we're going to using this model to build the ones I just mentioned, the first, actually we take more than 10 years, in most of city in Taiwan to simulate the regional inundated map based on different Taiwan events, based on the synthetic different time return periods. Things. So we have, for example, if I have 300 map, so I have 300 inundated map based on the simulated. And I learn from this map, 300 map. That's the only things I can have. So after I have that one, then people will say, why we not just using those 300 map? Okay? The 300 map provide the historical or the simulation result. And you learn from there. Actually, what if I have monitoring system later on? Now we are trying to build this one in a number of cities in Taiwan. So I get the real-time data. And if I have real-time data, I can using that one as an input to identify which one the things I like. So we actually can do that later on, but not now. Okay. So the simulation result will not telling you which one responded to the hydrologic condition. So we need to a model to do this. That's why there's two process, hybrid. You have clustering, get all the information in the different cluster, and you need to have a model to learn what's going to happen next, something like that. So hybrid those things.
Is the two-dimensional hydraulic model?
Yes. Now there's I know a different group. I know they have built one, and the Cup of Army they has a model, and they are also commercial software as well. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you again.
Okay. Thank you.